Broken City. So Mark Wahlberg is a former cop turned private investigator who is called in by the mayor on the eve of his election to check out
What party does the mayor represent?
the mayor's party. Can I do this?
I was just hoping he might
Called
be a
in
socialist.
by the
Socialist mayor.
Socialist. Called in by the mayor on the eve of the election to check out his wife, whom he believes is having an affair. He is then confronted by the wife who says, if you think it's an affair, you don't know the half of it. Is a clip.
If I might pry for a moment, how much you're being paid for your efforts?
Which efforts are those?
The work you're doing for the mayor? I'll give you $50,000 to give it up.
Well, that's very generous, but I got a contract with the mayor.
Break it.
You don't break contract with the mayor.
Don't I know it?
Why don't you just leave him?
This is not what you think it is, Mr. Taggart.
I take pictures of Mrs. Hostella. I don't get paid to think.
If the last 7 years of your life mean anything, if that woman you put down the bottle for means anything, walk away. Because if you think you're investigating adultery, Mr. Taggart, you don't know Nicholas Hostetler very well.
Ooh.
Walk away, Jack. It's Chinatown.
I bet he doesn't walk away. That's just my guess.
Yeah, no,
Then
he
gets
doesn't.
involved.
He doesn't walk away. He storms in and says, "You can't handle the truth." The problem, I mean, it's a solidly made piece of drama. The problem is that it's a solidly made piece of drama that you have seen done before. I mean, it's directed by Alan Hughes, who in the past I've had an awful lot of time for. He's done some very, very interesting stuff. This is fine, and it is nuts and bolts fair, but it is absolutely nuts and bolts fair. In that particular clip, when she says, if you think this is just adultery, you don't know half of it. You think, well, nobody in the audience thinks it's just adultery. What we think is, as soon as we see the setup, we think this is a story about corruption, about political corruption, about stuff. But we know all the parameters of it. So as things start to unravel, as it turns out not to be about adultery, you think, I know, of course, I know exactly where it's going. And you have the character, the mayor, is played in a way which tells you right from the first moment you see him, okay, I don't trust this guy. He's played by Russell Crowe, massively untrustworthy performance, good, massively untrustworthy performance. Signalled by things like he's always got a drink of whiskey in his hand, therefore we know he's untrustworthy.
Is he quite schlubby? He's in schlubby form, is he?
Russell Crowe?
Yes.
Well, no, he's a mayor, so he's sort of actually he should.
But your theory is that the schlubbier Russell Crowe is, the better he is.
Yeah. I don't think it's one of his best performances. And Russell Crowe also. This is something that bothered me. This tells you about how ordinary, that doesn't mean bad, it just means ordinary and workmanlike and, as I said, solidly put together but predictable, not stuff you haven't seen before. There's a bit in it in which Russell Crowe quotes The Great Gatsby, and he misquotes The Great Gatsby, and it drove me nuts because the word which is used in the Scott Fitzgerald original is the orgastic future, which year by year recedes before us, and people always correct it to orgiastic, which it isn't. The word is orgastic.
What does orgastic mean?
It's a word that Fitzgerald made up.
Really?
Yeah.
What did he intend it to mean?
Well, how long have you got, and how many papers do you want to be written on that subject?
A 20-second answer would be fine.
It sounds like a word that is somewhere between orgiastic and orgasmic and organ. It's a word which means whatever you want it to mean, but it is a word that he used and was then corrected to orgiastic. Yeah. And the fact that when it turned up and it was misquoted, it bothered me as much as it did, suggested to me that there's this rule about cinema, which is that if cinema is completely engulfing you, you put a flaw in it won't throw you off. It won't. So there's an old trick, which is, for example, you're doing a scene and somebody reaches out to pick up a cup with their right hand, and then you have a close up of them picking it up with their left hand. And if the audience notice, it means the film isn't working. If they don't notice, it means the film is working. When a film is working, when it's completely engulfing you, big howling continuity errors just pass by. And generally, if you end up watching those kind of things, it's because the film isn't doing anything particularly remarkable. In the case of Broken City, it's not that it's badly done. It isn't. It is well made. It is craftsmanlike. It is join the dots. It doesn't have any surprises in it. It is a film that you have seen before, done far more remarkably. However, let's not, that doesn't mean that it's not a perfectly passable piece of entertainment, but it is no more than that. And certainly there are no surprises in it. And certainly when characters start saying, you think it's all about this, you think, I don't think that at all.